The screenshot on the front of this. I was given bus fare from Wyoming, a place called Rawlins. I was given bus fare after they forced me to break the law to turn in and get children safe. Forced me to do that after multiple calls. So after harming me and then utilizing the hospital to have me harmed further, they put me on a bus to California, of all places. Also in Virginia, the cops there in Bristol, Virginia, paid 300 and some odd dollars of American taxpayer dollars to have me shipped from Bristol, Virginia to Rapid City, South Dakota. No, those are not the only 2 times that bus tickets were paid for me to leave. That's the thing that's funny about Portland and also Tacoma, Washington. Has this great idea of putting hobos on buses and shipping them to wherever they want to go. Do you not see how much money you're spending of America's taxpayer dollars to just drop us off somewhere else where there's nowhere for us? Everybody's idea is that we go magically disappear to somewhere else that doesn't exist. You're marching us off into the sea, and we don't have boats. What are you thinking? Then the county's got to try to line their pockets with American taxpayer dollars by railroading us and putting us through the court system and through the jail system, denying us basic human rights, such as the right to dignity and a fair trial. I was never allowed that. When it comes to autism, you guys have no idea. And some of you, see, here's the way that neurotypicals are wired. They're wired to be liars. And people who don't automatically play along as liars must be idiots. You tell us we just need to learn to play the game. No, we see what's happening. We see the game. You guys don't just talk about it. You do this stupid shit in front of us. Yes, we're aware. When you guys tell me about your cousin who's autistic and has to wear a helmet and he poops himself, and does that mean you know everything about autism? Because obviously I'm not him. Also, just so you know, I've known a few autistic folks who, even in their adulthood, have issues of various sorts and are still highly intelligent. There are several people that I know in various places, such as Dole County, Nebraska, Chapel in specific, who are autistic, do not speak, and are the most intelligent kids there. It's not just me. But then there's also the assumption that you guys have that autistic people are socially retarded. Yes, you can say that. You can say that about me. Socially, yes. I get what you're doing. I just don't see it as doing anything useful, which is why I don't agree with or to partake in those things. I tried the socializing the way that you guys insist on doing it when I was younger. What it resulted in was a lot of vomit, a whole lot of vomit. If it wasn't my own vomit, it was me tending to people who were vomiting while everybody else was like, man, just fucking leave him there. Dude, just leave her there. Like, no, are you fucking stupid? When somebody is so drunk that they're puking and the puke is coming out and falling back onto their face, yeah, you need to fucking roll them to the side, dummy. They're going to fucking choke to death on their own puke. You don't get to tell me that you can't do that. And I highly recommend this is something that should be done, should be learned your very first day of college if you haven't learned it already. The recovery position as well. I mean, you gotta keep that airway clear. When somebody done something stupid and drank too much, you gotta know what to do. Me as an autistic person, people just assume I'm retarded and they're not going to trust me to do it. But I know what to do in a lot of those cases. When I grew up in the system, there was a lot of people who tried to cheek their meds and take them all at once, things of that nature. You get to learn a lot of stuff real quick. You get to realize which one of them colorations means they're sick, which one of them colorations means that they're not getting any oxygen, which one of them colorations means they've been dead a while. You learn things. And you guys want to pretend that because I'm autistic, I don't know what I'm talking about. You want to pretend that because I'm autistic, I don't know when people are bullshitting me. The problem is that you guys force me to believe people because they said something. It's not that I believe them. It's that you force me to go to them. You force me. And that's not something that I should ever have to do. Allow me some dignity. Allow me to have some say-so in my life. I'm told how to self-advocate, and I've watched the self-advocacy videos, and I've watched over a dozen of them by now. I've watched the mandated reporter training videos. I've even watched videos that are supposed to be for specifically made for different counties in regards to their public defender's offices and how you're supposed to react and interact and how they're supposed to act when it comes to certain issues. Like when your client is being victimized in the jail or the prison, yes, absolutely, you are to do something about it immediately upon being told. You are not to look the other way. But this is also something that, and this is going to sound crazy to you because every public defender will tell you that it's not the case. In every single state in the union, if you're a public defender and your client comes to you and says that they are being physically, sexually, or psychologically tortured or having the tools necessary for them to take part in their case withheld from them illegally, you have to do something about it. That is something that does have to be addressed, and it has to be addressed immediately. I'm not dumb. I'm overwhelmed. So one thing that I did tonight, I called up a place here in Tillamook that's supposed to be, it's specifically supposed to be trauma counseling. However, it's not one of the programs that I've gone to already that have been complete and total FUDs. I'm gonna, oh God, I don't even know how to approach this. That lady, Vicky Rain, she didn't deserve this, but at the same time, neither do I. With a lot of my friends and family, what they're not understanding is that those people, I love them, each and every one of them individually for who they have been to me. But they forgot who I was in person. They forgot what it is that I did. When many of them wanted to tell me about how their lives have fallen apart for the last 6 years, well, you know what? All of our lives have. The services are getting less and less. There's more and more of us out here. More of our loved ones are dropping like flies. We were told that we chose it. We chose to be ostracized. Then there's how easily people with something are to manipulate. When they're afraid that they'll lose what they've got, yeah, it becomes a lot different story. There's a lot of people who were down with helping me that were on the streets, but when they got housing, they closed up shop immediately and even destroyed evidence to try to hide it because they didn't want to get in trouble, didn't want to lose housing. A lot of these people are parents, and I'm expected to understand. I do understand. I don't have to have kids to understand that either I grow the fucking balls to protect those fucking kids or nobody is going to. When those parents, like Amy Kalina Kingery, cannot stay off of the methamphetamines, and her boyfriend, Joshua Rayborn, can't stop shooting up the methamphetamines, and Amy Witcher can't stop snorting the cocaine, and her husband, Andrew Witcher, can't get off the meth after years and years and years. Candace Bondurant being harassed and threatened by Officer Michael Beard. What a strange last name, right? Well, that's not very nice to say, in my personal opinion. There were people who told me that I must have made him up because nobody's got the last name of Beard. Well, there was also people who didn't think that the last name of Big Hair was a real last name. But if you look up the name Selena Shelley Faye Not Afraid, you'll realize Not Afraid is a last name. And that the sheriff who was supposed to investigate, his last name was Big Hair. And that one of her aunts, again, last name of Big Hair, it's a Native American last name. There's also a lot of people that I know that I got treated like I was making them up because they happen to have names that were quasi-famous. Some of them have names that are the same as people who died hundreds of years ago, and some of them have the same names as recent actors. Jamie Lee Curtis went to school at Creek Valley High School in Chapel, Nebraska. But the Jamie Lee Curtis that you guys think of as a famous actress, they're not the same person, and I don't confuse them with the same person. William Barr, I've been told that his name is famous, and I've looked it up. I found a few of them that are close to his name. And same thing with William Burr. I guess there's both. Those guys have historical connotations. Somebody with their name in our history is famous for something, I don't know. Michelle Rodriguez, you can look her name up. Or rather, you can look up Waylon Lolatai. Officer Waylon Lolatai. Boulder, Colorado. He likes to hurt homeless people. Michelle Rodriguez was one of his victims. Michelle Rodriguez. Now, are we talking about the lady that was in, what was it? Was she the one that was in The Fast and the Furious? I think so. But the Michelle Rodriguez who was assaulted by Waylon Lolatai, I know she was a homeless woman in Boulder, Colorado. Now, somebody was telling me that she used to be a nurse, and I don't know if that's true or not. I do know that a lady named Michelle Rodriguez got a hold of me, and I was able to verify that it was her, and also some other friends that we have mutually in common, so I could absolutely verify it was her. I even threw down a couple of wrong pieces of information to see if she could fix it. Yeah, she knew the truth of the situations 100%, so I knew I knew Michelle Rodriguez was the real deal when she told me that she's friends with Wings and that she was staying with Wings, and she told me the situation with her son dying and who the father was. I was like, yep, all right, this is my Michelle Rodriguez. But obviously, she's not the same Michelle Rodriguez as the famous actress. Also, if you look up the name Waylon Lolotai, you'll get to see that Tony Kovaleski did a special on him. And you'll also get to see that multiple YouTube channels have actually picked it up as well, and that you can see how horrible a person he is, and also what Michelle Rodriguez had to go through. You also get to see her face, and you'll get to hear some curse words out of her. I think rightly so. It's not okay for somebody like that to be so in love with harming people and be given a badge and a gun. He had his badge and his gun taken away from him because he couldn't stop himself from assaulting homeless people. My paperwork and also the videos that I've made show that I did speak up about multiple people who are in jail now. Sarah Nelson of Lincoln Correction Center. She's in prison now. She used to be the assistant warden, I told on her. Michelle Dicini, Michelledicini. Lincoln Correction Center. Look where she's at. She's in prison now, too. Hey, guess who saved her life? That's right, I did. I let her know about several of the other inmates that were going to kill her. Fucking morons. I told them to keep their mouths shut around me. I was about saving lives. They said I was next. That's fine. You guys pretend like these experiences are fake, like they couldn't have happened to a disabled person. You all know that we're the most we're the most abused by police. Men are the most likely to be shot. Disabled men, per capita, are pretty well likely to be shot too. Not quite the same margin, but 51% of those killed by police last year were not homeless, were disabled. 60% were homeless. 96% were men. About half of our 332 million people population, about half of them are male. Only 600,000 of those, a little less than 600,000, are homeless. And yet the homeless account for 60% of those who are incarcerated, 81% of those who are incarcerated, as well as 60% of those who were shot by police last year here in the United States. This is an epidemic. Also, the way that our quote-unquote mental health works here, if you're victimized and you try to get help, you'll be blown off until you attempt to kill yourself, and that is not acceptable. We need to be about saving lives and not taking them. Why is it that somebody like me, who is a pacifist and hates violence, has to be, put into a position where he has to pretend to be one of his predators? You tell me that these things these folks are doing to me is not wrong, that it's okay for them to do it to me, and you make any excuse for them to do it. And that's a horrible thing to do to somebody. If I do it back, or even just threaten to do it back, Y'all come at me sideways like I'm all of a sudden the devil. Autism is not okay in this country. Now, y'all know I speak out against sexism, against slavery, against racism. But you also get to hear my videos where I stop and break it down and blame each individual group, right? Or the ones who are into ancestor worship. I talk about their ancestors great achievements, and about how you get to decide what kind of an achievement that you make or you decide to be with your life. A lot of people want to throw their Jesus at me and give me a sermon. If I make a sermon about what's in their Bible and what the Jesus said, they take what Jesus said and pretend I'm threatening to kill people. When I made a jalapeno juice gun, it wasn't a firearm. I didn't have the money to be able to get myself a real pepper spray, and people kept on assaulting me. So then some of my predators, people who were gaslighting me and pretending like they were going to help, pretended like I was threatening to shoot them with an actual gun. I wasn't threatening to shoot anybody. But you know what? I was letting people know that I had it prepared so that I could defend myself. It was a 99-cent squirt gun from fucking Walmart. Who's gonna fucking die from that? Nobody. Although I can think of some scenarios where I would be hesitant to use it, like, if it might result in somebody falling over a cliff, falling off a building, falling over a rail. I really don't want people getting hurt, but I also needed people to stop hurting me. And with my friends and family, I'd try to get a hold of them every time something happened, but they were always too busy. Telling me they care for years. Like, hey, you don't care. I tried to let you know about the people who were threatening to kill me, and threatening to kill my sister, and threatening to kill my niece. They actually threatened. All right, so here's the first people they threatened. All right, the people in Boulder weren't so much threatening to kill any of my friends and family. Not to start with, anyway. They were just threatening to harm me. Over what Maddie Boa said. I'm like, Maddie Boa wasn't there, and what she's telling you is fucking crazy. If Maddie Boa is telling you that I did shit like that, she's fucking wrong. I got stuck in the middle of the road with a broken phone. It sucked. I was dehydrated and I went to the hospital. Now stop hitting me. Now, you parents of autistic kids, some of you understand to a small degree. Laura Nelson understands her son to a lot better degree than anybody else. But you know what? There are people who are spectacular in that young man's life, like Nova Wilmuth. I cannot say enough good things about her. I cannot sing her praises enough. And I gotta tell you, she doesn't like me. If she does like me now, then she changed who she is entirely. Obviously, I didn't make enough money to go to the McDonald's this afternoon. I'll have to fly a sign in the morning because I'm too broke. I did try running my card again. Fucking goddamn, that hurts. I also took several walks and I tried to brisk walk it. I got a broken toe, and that's not the problem. It keeps me from being able to walk properly, but the major issue that I have is my back. I'm also really scared because of that Vicky Rain lady. I didn't want to do that. That's the same with most of these folks. I didn't want to do that to anybody. To show the truth in public. So, with this independent counselor here, I guess, that takes Medicare and Medicaid. He is licensed to diagnose all sorts of stuff. And he also is supposed to utilize some sort of alternative ideas, which I don't know about. If he wants me to take fucking psilocybin, I'm going to tell him no. I've had several people tell me, hey man, you know, you should try mushrooms. And I'm like, no, I shouldn't. No, I fucking shouldn't. If you go into it in the wrong frame of mind, you can have a bad trip that will stay with you for the rest of your life. And that's a bad idea. I've known enough drug use in my lifetime. I'm also going to tell you that if you've got a strong mind and you are well connected and grounded in reality, it doesn't matter how many mushrooms you take, you are never going to separate from reality. You are always going to know right where you're at. For me, they gave me medications that made it so that literally everything was yellow. Let's imagine if there was well, you guys know all those really bright signs that they have outside of your local stores. Big square sign with logos on it, like the Denny's sign. It's big and lighted up. Well, the yellow was like if you were to walk right up to the Denny's sign to a part that's just yellow and open your eyes and look at it. It was just yellow. That's how I was dealt with at Clearview Behavioral Health. If you look up Clearview Behavioral Health, you'll see what kind of trouble they got into. You'll also see that I wasn't allowed to be any part of that. I wasn't allowed to show what was going on. I wasn't allowed to show the truth or tell the truth. I wasn't allowed to be there. And all the cops had to do was keep me tied up in court to prevent me from turning them in. Repeatedly send me to the officers that I was trying to turn in and allow them to do whatever they wanted to me. And that shit ain't right. That got people killed. Obviously, I cover a lot of topics in my videos, but that's just because it's all I'm capable of doing. And y'all don't get that. I need you to understand this is all I'm capable of doing without a safe environment. Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Because I'm intelligent, I am expected to be able to do things that are beyond my means or my education. There's a lot of younger folks I know that are dumb as a fucking stump, but I tell you what, they know how to run one of them smartphones in ways that I couldn't possibly dream of. Now, if they were to teach me how to do some of that stuff, things would be different. There's a few things in my life that need to be reviewed. And there's a lot of things that I didn't do perfectly, and I will have to be the first one to admit that. But anybody who says that I did not try is a liar to their core. And any of these folks who want to claim that I slandered their name, we need to go through the parts, and they need to claim what it is that they're saying is slander. They need to actually call it slander. In specific, what part is slander and what part is not. If the things that you say that are not slander are not in alignment with what the officers or the Bollingers said, then it does need to be brought up. Why didn't you bring that up? Why did you not bring that information to the police? Why did you not assist Sean in stopping the abuse? You like it when I refer to myself in the third person? Some of y'all get highly insulted by that. I get it. When I say no victim left behind, there are times when I have to remind you that a male can be victimized, and often are. Right now, I can't go 2 days without seeing a woman on my news feed who has either sexually molested somebody, gotten pregnant by an underage somebody, been a teacher who misused her something with somebody, and then we've got a bunch of people that are transgender that are flipping out and killing a bunch of people now too. All right, that was unfair, wasn't it? As if that just started. As if no trans person had ever harmed anybody before today. We all know that's not the truth. I know for certain that's not the truth from personal history. I've been victimized by some pretty messed up people. Not everybody in the LGBT community is a horrible person. I fight for the rights of every human being for a reason. I also do make videos where I point out discrepancies between this Me Too movement and the people who are actually being heard. The Me Too movement pretended like it's for all of us, all of the victims. But the reality is the victim has to be a very specific gender, and that's harmful to every single one of us. There is not a single person in this country that does not affect negatively. Taking men out of the equation is not the solution. Pretending that somebody who is LGBT cannot be a predator is also getting a lot of people hurt. Having us be told that when we're victimized by somebody by the LGBT community that we can't even turn it in because then we'll get treated like we're just trying to victimize or hate on people who are of the LGBT community. I don't care about the community. We're all people. Why can't Wraith see me as a person too? Why does he have to dismiss everything that I'm going through because I'm not LGBT? And also, why is it that people want to argue with it? Like some folks tell me, Sean, you know what? You're not really into anybody. You know, that does make you LGBT. You are part of that community. And you support that community. And you go to Pride Fest. And you do speak up. But then Wraith tells me I'm not a part of that community because why? Because I'm not full-blown homosexual. I'm not attracted to men. So I can't be LGBT to him. I'm not sexist. I'll wear whatever. I'm fine with wearing a dress. I am not okay with wearing high-heeled shoes. Fuck that. But it's not because I am into girls' clothing. It's that I'm really against people getting all butthurt about something like that. We're not all ultra Christians. We shouldn't be forced to be. A lot of y'all, you watch The Big Bang Theory and you get the wrong idea. Sheldon Cooper gives you the idea that we're mentally fucking retarded and we don't fucking get it. No, we point out the fucking irony of it. And that's the thing that's so horrible about his character. Is that his character is a fucking dumbass. Seriously, ask Red, he'll fucking tell you, dumbass. I'm not Sheldon Cooper. I'm not a Hollywood rendition. I'm the real deal. An actual human being. I'm not a nuclear physicist. Being born with a high intelligence doesn't mean that I was born with a nuclear physics degree. You know what it takes to have a nuclear physics degree? An actual education in nuclear physics. Now, there is something to be said for real world experience. If there's a young man who has grown up in a nuclear power plant, his dad ran the thing and knew the place inside and out and explained everything to his son, so his son knew everything inside and out. And then you've got an educated college boy, just got out of college, doesn't know how to run any of the machinery, but he understands the math and the efficiency of the math. However, he got a C average, so that means he fucks up a lot. And he gets lucky if he gets a passing grade. Do you really want anybody who's going to make any mistakes at all in a situation like that? You want the person who is the picture of precision and efficiency. A lot of businesses exploit people who are autistic simply because we are able to find things that the rest of y'all can't. We're able to pick out patterns out of nowhere that you guys just couldn't imagine existed. A lot of major companies utilize people very specifically like me to be able to break apart behavioral advantages and disadvantages in neurotypicals. The reason for that is because you guys are like an open book to people like us who are not often allowed to be a part of your system, but we are forced to be close to it and to see it and to observe it. We understand that you lied to that girl because you wanted to get laid. We understand that you went to that party, and although you went there with your best friend, you noticed that the woman who's macking on him is pretty good looking. You're jealous of your friend, and you're going to do something underhanded. I'm the guy who's trying to mind my own fucking business while you guys are doing stupid shit to each other all night. Like, man, neither one of y'all getting laid tonight, and neither is she, because y'all acting a damn fool. Now, why the hell is it that those two boys go off to one side and they talk about how which one's going to bang her tonight? And then she comes over and she stands over by the couch next to me with a couple of her friends talking about which one's going to get their sex tonight and which one gets which guy. And like, so both of them, both genders, talking about who's going home with who, trying to plan it out for each other. Who's going to go home with whom? Yeah, I see that. I just don't take part in it. It's weird to me. That's one of the things with Jamie Curtis. She couldn't understand that I just wasn't interested in sex. Y'all don't understand how highly we rate on the emotional understanding scale. What that means is that autistic folks, especially high functioning autistic folks, actually read your emotions better than you read ours. But then again, for you guys, what you see is neurotypical and weird, and that's kind of how you look at it. What you consider normal, I believe, is more so to the point than neurotypical, because there are many neurotypicals from all over the world who have what's normal in their society is completely different for yours or for our society. But also, there's the experience of the minorities within said societies. Minorities like people with Asperger's. Minorities like, well, homeless people. I want you guys to look through all my videos, and I want you to understand that there's a lot of parts where I had communication issues because I am scared shitless all the time. There are videos on my channel that show crimes that were committed against me and others. But when I try to explain it, you see how I'm too fragmented mentally to be able to piece it together vocally. And all you guys do is ship us from one place to another, to another, to another. Go here, go there. The amount of money that was spent to ship me from one end of the country to the other on multiple occasions, from multiple jurisdictions, multiple states. It's a horrible amount of money. It's expensive. I could have bought myself a house with all of the money that... I could have bought a house in fucking Hollywood with the amount of money that was wasted on me. Put me in jails, put me in prisons, doing whatever it took to keep me from being able to speak or to show evidence, to keep me forced into homelessness, so I'm not able to function. And that all comes down to Maslow's hierarchy of needs. We need to protect one another. I'm going to try to go to sleep tonight, although I'm afraid to every night. I'm afraid of getting that knock on the window right before payday, saying, all right, you're getting towed. You can't stay here tonight. And the most important thing to impress upon all of you is that my evidence is more important than my life. Because I'm an autistic person, my life doesn't matter here in the United States. I might as well be schizophrenic or a vegetable. Many of the people that I knew before Natalie died used to tell me I was the most honest person they knew, the most intelligent person they knew. But when they found out I was autistic, that all went out the window and they started talking to me like I was retarded. What a difference a label makes, right? And of course, they're still masking it with insults. Well, your people are really smart. Well, thank you for acknowledging that, but now you're talking over me like I'm retarded after telling me that my people are really smart. What do you mean by that? Because I am part Jewish. Are you saying that Jewish people are really smart? I'm part German too. Ancestry is pretty mixed. Are you saying something about German people? What are you trying to insinuate? Are you trying to insinuate something about autistic people? A lot of your beliefs in autism are wrong, just like your beliefs in a lot of animals are completely wrong. Self-preservation is important, but we have shown time and again that animals, especially dogs, do have true emotions. They do love. Autistic people, it's not that we don't have any emotions. It's that our emotions are forced to be bottled up because you will punish us for having them. You're allowed to get angry, but if we're angry because you're being dickheads to us, because you're yelling at us, because you're angry, and you want to blame everything on us because we're easy to blame. Oh, well, he's autistic. He's autistic. It's his fault because he's autistic. He doesn't understand anything because he's a retarded autistic person. Do you get how damaging that is? How harmful that is, or how much that hurts? Or when you blow off everything that I've experienced by telling me that I just need to man up. And I show you how people react. These people who claimed to love me said that they wouldn't this and said that they wouldn't that. And look how easily their words went right out the window when it came time to tell the truth. Well, that's why I record everything. When I try to be kind to them, though, that ends up screwing me. The reason for that is because I have to put it on a clandestine audio recording device if I'm in my vehicle. If I can record it live on YouTube, that's usually best, but it's not often I have the ability to do that. Also, all of this takes money, but the point here with the help that I need isn't that I need, $50 here, or I need a 50 later on. No, it's the matter of I have these expenses, and they will always be here until I get help turning it in. Until I have help having a safe place where I don't have to leave and go anywhere. If I get a house or an apartment, there's only going to be one room in the whole place that I don't have cameras on and available 24 hours a day if I'm capable. And that's not a matter of super paranoia. It's a matter of you never know. And I want people in my environment to be safe. I also want them to mind their P's and Q's and how they treat each other. And if somebody does something or says something that's horrible, we can go back and review the tape. My house should be a safe place for anyone who enters it. The only room that would not have a camera in it would be the bathroom. Don't nobody want to listen to you shitting. That's gross. Not to me. I don't care if you poop or not. I have heard myself make horrible sounds. Now, what's all this got to do with the title of the video, the length of the video, or any of that other stuff? It has to do with the position that we're forced to do this from. Where is our starting position? Where was my starting position compared to the average black male in the country? How much more likely am I to be shot? A lot. See, a man in a house is not very likely to get killed by police. A man on the street is extremely likely to get killed by the police. Disabled people are extremely likely to get killed by police. Women are almost not at all likely to get killed by police. Only about 4% of those killed by police are women. Many of those they call accidental. Really, it's officers, being heartless and not caring. How many people did they kill last year that had diabetic issues? Were quote unquote acting up in public, charged with crimes because why? Because their insulin didn't work. Because they weren't prepared for the situation as they should have been. Now that's something that really sucks too, doesn't it? You weren't prepared for your disabilities. Well, I was prepared for mine. I've had these disabilities my whole life. And I've had the same difficulty with getting people to listen my whole life. When I said people were threatening to kill me, it wasn't a joke. I also showed that people were threatening to kill me and my family before Natalie was killed, including Tim Beeson, her boyfriend, who'd been messing with her since she was a little kid. But you know what? I'm still alive. Hopefully Vicky Rain hasn't destroyed my evidence. And hopefully you guys will actually fight for the rights of your children, especially you parents of autistic children. Hopefully you'll start realizing you need to fight not just for your kids, but the other kids too. Or the things they're going to do to your kids are horrible. They're going to do worse things to your kids than they've done to me, because at least I can speak. At least I had the luck, and I know this sounds horrible, but I had the luck of the news trying to cover the story and doing a horrible job. If they hadn't screwed up so horribly themselves, Joseph Michael Lopez might have actually gotten away. Natalie didn't have a way out. See, that was her complaint before she went to Virginia. That's what she wanted my help with when I was in Virginia. But you guys don't want to hear that. It doesn't fit your narrative. The idea of two people who both grew up in shitty conditions working together to put a change to it. Not put a stop to it, put a change to it. It does need changed. We have a lot of laws that are really good laws. They just have no teeth. How does a disabled person turn in a place that they've been abused, a place like Clearview? I might make it through the night, I might not. But we all know that, don't we? Every night we go to bed knowing we might not wake up. There's always the possibility. When you're younger, you don't think about it as much, right? Well, no, when I was younger, I thought about it a lot more. But it wasn't my mortality I was worried about. It was my selfishness. Every time I moved, I needed to make new friends, and I always missed them. I still miss Joseph Walthall. We went to St. Vrain schools together. That was, I believe, third grade. We rode the bus together, and I remember he had a Russian nanny. I still remember Steven's Tula. I haven't seen him in over 30 years. I know you guys want to pretend that because my words don't come together properly all the time, that it means I'm crazy. Well, I am crazy. Being this afraid, going through this much crap, having this many of your loved ones tell you that their lives were threatened. Yeah, that'd drive anybody crazy. I tried telling these people that I was being harmed, that people were threatening to kill me and my friends and family. I tried telling folks that before Natalie was killed. After Natalie was killed, they got to experience it because the news media, the way they painted it, and made it so the people who thought they were my loved ones, thought that they cared about me, thought that they were my friends, thought that they were going to stick up for me on YouTube or Facebook. They got bombarded by literally tens of thousands of people between these YouTube groups, Facebook groups. Their voices got buried among many. And it turned out that the opinions that people wanted to hear were the hateful ones. They didn't want to hear who I really was. And I have to emphasize who I was, because I cannot be that man anymore. I cannot afford it. A lot of people want to help me in the way that they think is going to help the best with their ignorance of the situation. So it's instead of helping Sean the way that he's supposed to get help, which is go to a friend or family when he's harmed and then turn it in together, it's a whole bunch of really expensive bullshit for me to jump through for my friends to get their help. And in the end, they're just going to act like telling me what to do was help. That's how much respect you have for us. Most of you who were my friends before Natalie was killed, I remember you guys telling me how smart I was, and I also remember you, many of you, telling me stories about how I had saved your life. Some of you I remembered, some of them I don't fucking remember it. You must have been talking about somebody else saving your life, or just, you know. I handed out a lot of blankets, and a lot of people told me I saved their life because I gave them a blanket. The reality is I just gave them a blanket because I didn't want them to freeze to death, but there's no guarantee that they were gonna. I knew it was illegal to pass out those blankets. Well, illegal for those people to use them. Boulder County Cares, they shut that down. They used to pass out blankets until 10:30, but then at 10:30 it becomes illegal to use those blankets within the city limits on public property. So basically, they're doing something that makes you a criminal. Boulder County Cares hands out the blankets so you don't freeze to death, and then you're a criminal for not freezing to death. So between knocking off the bullshit with making us criminals, they instead got rid of Boulder County Cares. It's horrible. I know this is a longer video and y'all hate my longer videos. The chances of you watching through to the end are not that great. I just wanted people to leave me and my friends and family alone. When that didn't happen, I wanted my life to be over. But I couldn't get help with that, and I couldn't get help stopping the abuse. And then Natalie got her brains blown out, and a lot more people joined the witch hunt, joined in on the cruelty. I've had a few people ask me if I could bring Natalie back, would I? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Knowing what her family put her through and experiencing it myself firsthand, no. A lot of my friends that I went to for help, I just wanted help, like some diplomacy for Christ's sake. Some simple fucking diplomacy. And that's all it would have taken. These officers could have sat down and listened to both of us. And that should have been allowed. Just because you want to pretend that we're all computer geniuses doesn't mean that we are. Just because you want to pretend all homeless people are child molesters or rapists doesn't mean that we are. Many of us are victims of that kind of abuse. Many of us ended up homeless because we were fleeing that kind of abuse. Also, anybody who wants to tell a homeless person that they don't know nothing about police brutality, it don't matter what color you are, that's a horrible thing to say. Per capita, we're the most likely to be murdered by police every year. Most of our numbers are not counted or presented on the news. When we die, we don't get a funeral. We don't get a state's funeral, no matter how much we fought for your rights. What we get is cremated. just like the Nazis did to the Jews in World War II. Cheap and efficient. And isn't that what we want? Save the American taxpayer dollars. We got to be able to use some money for vacations and stuff for our officials. We better make some corners somewhere. Anyway, you guys get to hear how I'll make a video about how I'm partially blaming men or partially blaming women or partially blaming black folks or white folks or any of these different groups. When I chastise these groups, it's the whole group that I'm chastising because it's the individuals that matter. I don't agree with most of the stuff that I'm saying when I chastise, and it's a very plain and simple reason why. Because when I chastise, I'm not usually chastising one individual. I'm chastising an entire group because individuals that I know wanted to push just for that group. Only that group matters. We're focusing just on women now. We're focusing just on black people now. Well, statistically, women are a lot less likely to be beaten up or shot by the police, just so you know. The homeless are people too. Even if a lot of these homeless people don't care about me enough to stand up and fight, I understand why. I understand why they hide like cowards. They went through it once and went, I'm too much of a coward, never again. I'll bow down to the master when it's time. Metaphorically, of course. Me, I don't listen to that advice, do I? I tried tapping out. I tried to tap out. When I left Virginia, I had tapped out and I drove away. That didn't work though. I got to Boulder and I tapped out in Boulder and I left. And that wasn't good enough. I tapped out repeatedly. I even tried to get myself put in prison intentionally and it didn't work. Would have been a 20-year sentence just off of what I said about Donald Trump. But no, them idiots wouldn't do it. Good to be with you. Thanks for coming to visit. Stay out of trouble or don't get caught. Remember, you are your brother's keeper, and no victim left behind. You're also your sister's keeper.